When South African sprinter Bayanda Waza powers towards the finish line, his style often finds an analogy with a windmill. His form and running technique even earned him a nickname, Wobble. Wobble. In fact, he began his season by setting a national under-20 record and becoming the joint 5th fastest junior athlete ever in the world over 100 m. And he credits this milestone to his rather unconventional sprinting style. However, Waza often finds his running form being compared to that of sprinters like Noah Lyles and Kishane Thompson. Addressing this, the 19-year-old expressed his disappointment as the South African sprint star has been on the rise. His comparisons with Lyles have become inevitable. In this week's episode of the Go Wild podcast, when asked about how he feels when compared with Lyles, Waza admitted, "Okay, truly speaking, it hurts, because of people usually speak bad. But what I've learned is that you need to use bad to be good. You need to use it for good. Because my running style is what I'm also focusing on changing." He acknowledged the uniqueness of his style, noting that it defines his presence on the track. "It is what makes me Ban Waza. Because everyone notices me everywhere I go. So I find this as a significant thing that people will see me with." Waza's style is particularly noticeable as he gallops forward like a horse with a visible head bob, and his styles has earned him some significant results, including running under 10 seconds in the 100 m. The 19-year-old sprint prodigy has made waves with performances that turned heads across the track world. He began 2025 by clocking 6.58 seconds in 60 mm in Toria, placing him as the 11th fastest junior over the distance. Then, on March 16, Waza broke the 10-second barrier, clocking 9.99 seconds at the Gao North Provincial Championships. That timing is not only the fastest of the season, but also the 5th fastest ever by a junior. Back in 2024 at the U20 World Championships in Lima, Peru, Waza claimed both the 100 m and 200 m titles, cementing his status as one to watch. These results propelled him above Thompson and Lyles on the world athletics rankings, signaling a shift in the sprinting hierarchy. Waza also reflected on his ongoing development and the role of his coach, Table Matabidi. "My coach is one person who doesn't like forcing things. He's also scared because it's his first time having like a pro athlete that is actually going and actually performing like this. So, he's also scared of trying to rush into things and actually messing things up." Unfortunately, Waza could not keep up with the good run as his injury made him sit out of the Worlds. Bayanda Waza's injury kept him away from the World's Championships. Waza sustained a hamstring injury at the Diamond League final in Zurich on August 25 and failed to recover in time. Athletics South Africa confirmed on September 10 that a comprehensive medical evaluation has determined that Waza's hamstring injury will prevent him from participating in the championships. The federation emphasized that the decision was taken in the best interest of the athlete and the integrity of the national team scheduled to compete in both the 100 m and the 4x100 m relay. Waza was replaced by Wretched Disita, although Waza did not contest. In Tokyo, Waza's return too would be something the track world would look forward to. Interestingly, track and field expert coach Rob even tagged Waza as a reckoning force and added, Noah, Lyles, Fred Curley, whoever else, and when they see that young man Waza get onto the starting line, they better take him seriously for Bayando Waza. He always wants to leave a mark whenever he steps on the track, and that is the motivation that drives him. And as he recovers from his injury, the South African will be looking to bounce back stronger in 2026. For years, the name Noah Lyles has defined American sprinting, a mixture of swagger, speed, and showmanship that has reignited global attention for the sport. But in a world where comparisons are as constant as the stopwatch, not every rising athlete finds the shadow of a superstar easy to stand under. That truth came into sharp focus this week, when a teenage track and field prodigy finally opened up about the pressure of being compared to the reigning world champion, the young sprinter whose blistering 200 times have turned heads at recent youth championships spoke candidly about how the constant Lyles comparisons have shaped both his ambitions and his anxieties. It's inspiring, but it's also heavy, he admitted in a heartfelt interview. People don't always understand what it's like to have every race judged by someone else's greatness. The teen's confession touched a nerve across the athletics community. For many, Noah Lee represents a modern face of confidence. A man who overcame setbacks, anxiety, and doubt to become a three-time world champion and Olympic contender. But for younger athletes trying to carve out their own identities, his success has created a difficult paradox. Motivation on one hand, pressure on the other. The teenager's journey began much like Lyles. Humble roots, early talent, and an unshakable belief that sprinting was his way out of ordinary life. But as soon as his times began dropping, the comparison started. Coaches called him the next Noah Lie. Fans flooded social media with highlight clips spliced next to Lee's famous 19.31 finish. Even interviewers seemed more interested in how he stacked up to the world champion than who he truly was. It's like people forget that I'm still growing, he said, his voice laced with both pride and frustration. Noah is Noah. I respect him more than anyone, but I also want to be known for what I bring to the track, not just for who I remind people of. What makes his statement even more striking is the maturity behind it. The 18-year-old sprinter isn't dismissing Lyle's influence. In fact, he credits the American star for changing his outlook on mental health and self-expression. When I see Noah talk about his struggles and how he still dominates, that gives me hope, he said. He made it okay to be human in this sport. But the hard part is when people expect you to copy everything he's done. Indeed, Lyle's journey has been anything but typical. From his open discussions about anxiety to his fearless fashion choices and social activism, the Florida native has built a brand around authenticity. Yet, for a younger generation growing up under the glare of social media, that same transparency can turn into a double-edged sword. A standard so personal and high that it feels unreachable. One longtime U.S. sprint coach explained, Noah's impact is generational. Every young sprinter wants to be like him. But what's Dangerous is when the expectation becomes duplication. You can't manufacture another L. His story is unique. Behind the teenager's confession lies a broader truth about the modern track landscape. Today's young athletes are developing not just on the track, but in a world that demands instant results, marketable personalities, and online engagement. The pressure to perform is no longer limited to the starting blocks. It extends into every tweet, every post, every headline. You feel like one bad race can erase your whole identity. The young star admitted. That's why I've learned to focus on why I started in the first place. Because if you're always chasing someone else's version of success, you'll forget your own. Yet amid his honesty, there was also admiration. The teen described meeting Lyles briefly at a meet earlier this year. A moment he called surreal. He didn't talk about medals or times, he recalled. He just told me, keep running your story. Those words stuck with me. That's the kind of advice that stays with you forever. For Noah Lyles himself, mentoring the next generation has quietly become part of his legacy. Though his confidence on the world stage often draws attention, those close to him describe him as deeply aware of his role as a standard bearer for U.S. track and field. He's spoken about wanting to leave the sport in a better place than he found it, to inspire, not intimidate. Still, the very fact that so many young athletes measure themselves against his example speaks to his influence. Lyles has become more than a name. He's a symbol of resilience, artistry, and ambition. But symbols, as powerful as they are, can also cast long shadows. As the teenager story spread, fans online responded with empathy and encouragement. We love Noah, but this kid's right. One user wrote, we should let young athletes grow at their own pace. Others praised the teens' vulnerability, calling it a reminder that the sport needs to support individuality as much as it celebrates greatness. The incident has also sparked conversations among coaches and governing bodies about the mental toll of constant comparison, with more athletes speaking out about burnout and identity struggles. Many believe the sport must evolve to value personal growth as much as medals. The team, meanwhile, seems ready to move forward with renewed clarity. He's not running from the comparisons anymore. He's simply learning how to run beyond them. If people see Noah in me, that's fine, he said with a smile. But one day, I hope kids coming up will be compared to me, and then they'll understand how it feels. It's a statement that echoes Lyles' own journey. A reminder that greatness often begins where imitation ends. In the end, both stories, the established star and the emerging one, reflect the same truth. That the track is not just a place for speed, but for self-discovery. Noah Lyles may have set the standard, but for the new generation, the goal isn't to match his stride. It's to find their own rhythm in a world that never stops watching. And as the teen's words continue to resonate, one thing is clear. The next chapter of track and field won't just be about records. It will be about the courage to define success on one's own terms, even when running in the shadow of giants. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like and share. Till next time.